Hey YouTube, welcome back to the console room. I'm Emperor Cusco here with my co-host Mr. Ishard. Today we are looking at Build Kings Chapter 7, The Secret of Upside Down Castle. So, kind of just picking up right where we left off from last week's chapter, there's the problem at the castle of them not being able to build anything. So, before that, we kind of get too much into that. We actually get a flashback of Cork and how she actually ended up being in the castle and a part of the bandit clan, I guess, if you will. So turns out she's kind of a bit of an orphan and that she was protected by the village for a while, but they couldn't kind of protect her with all of the things that were roaming around and destroying the island. So she ends up being adopted by King Batt, grows up as part of his family, and then we see Tonkachi and Renga talking about the history of the castle. Renga revealing to Tonkachi that the whole Snake Way is actually an ancient dragon, and that upside down castle is actually the tooth of that dragon. So from there, we kind of see Tonkachi have this realization. He realizes the whole time he probably hasn't been using the right side of the hammer, since technically this was once a living creature. So he switches to the restore side and starts swinging away, absolutely obliterating the castle, but kind of at the cost of his own life force. So he's taking damage as he's trying to fix this castle, and we're left with a cliffhanger where we see this huge kind of shattering taking place, but we don't really know what the results are. So yeah, great art in this chapter, first of all. Secondly, sorry, I was just looking at the splash pages for the hammer hits. They're absolutely crazy. But I had kind of, I guess, brought this point up earlier. Why was he never slapping it with, I guess, the restore side before? Remember, I kind of mentioned that, and then now he's like, "Oh, Eureka!" I'm like, "Get out of here! Why are you just trying to?"
I guess before, because he was just trying to break it. He wasn't trying to restore it, right? Even though they're trying to renovate it, but remember before they renovate, they need to demolish first and then redo it, or however they the steps of remodeling a castle, mansion, house, right? So I'm not an architect or a builder, so
no, I feel you, but I don't think we need to be an architect or a builder to know that, swinging away at a castle hanging upside down and trying to destroy it is probably not the best result if you've got a hammer that can fix things.
Yeah, he's trying. I do like. I enjoy this chapter. I think the beginning, where we see her name's Cork, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's an orphan, and a lot of orphans, right? And
yeah, a lot of orphans.
No, but I mean, I just love the recurring joke of him being always upside down, but also his butlers are always there too, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, because he's like walking around on the outside, but all of his butlers walk normally. Like,
yeah, well, no, but it's not even that. It's just like his butlers are always there with him also, so it's just kind of
maybe they're his protection detail. So I
no,
guess
they're not. They're just regular butlers. I guarantee you. So it was just funny because that was a running gag in the previous chapter. Where they're like, all right, we're gonna go set the bandit people straight, and then like they're all right, the butlers are going too. So, but yeah, maybe I don't know. Apparently, they save that town that lives above the castle on the Snake Way looking thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, the one thing I also actually forgot to mention, my apologies, is Renga actually went into that tool room that was mentioned last chapter by King Batt, as they could take anything from there, and they found like a shovel that was actually able to pierce the fang. So that was kind of interesting. I guess we'll see like even more crazy tools down the line, and I guess they'll have to get kind of specific about the solutions and things that they're using.
Yeah.
I like that. I guess the hammer is not going to be the answer for everything. It kind of ended up being, but this is like setting that up for later down the line, right?
Yeah, for sure. And like I'm not gonna lie, I do like the consistency of Tonkachi's just like keep going. Like when I was reading this, I was like, man, this guy's like nonstop. You know what I mean? I don't know how many times he's hitting him, but you can see throughout all the castles, like do like towards the end of the chapter, you see all like the wax, the boom, boom, boom. They're doing around the castle and everything. It's kind of crazy, man. This kid is strong. So
for sure. Well, that seems to be a recurring theme in these kinds of series. With especially with these crazy muscles too. Like, dude, his arms are like the size of his head.
Yeah, but I like it because it's a ridiculous world. So like I could take my disbelief of this guy. Also, he trained on like Monster Island or whatever. So I'm like, yeah, he probably
Hammer Island,
Hammer Island, yeah, with all those other monsters and stuff. So it makes sense for me. But I really like. I have actually a question for you, and you probably was gonna ask me it regardless. You think he's gonna restore the dragon or what? Like, is the dragon gonna
The
come
whole
back?
dragon? I don't know. That'd be crazy. Could you imagine? Because I don't know how to affect everything.
I don't.
Um,
I think that dragon's probably sleeping, or
you
he's
think
dead.
so?
Or
Or
he's
it's
like,
dead and it's like just
yeah,
a decayed thing? I couldn't even tell
yeah.
you, man. I have no idea. I was kind of wondering that because the ripples that were kind of happening almost looked like gum-like, if you know what I mean. Like because it's
Well,
supposed to be
it
teeth,
looks
right?
very skinnish. Like it
Yeah,
has.
exactly. So,
Oh,
uh,
yeah. You mean gum from like a teeth? Yeah, you're
yeah,
like.
for your tooths. Yeah,
Okay.
or your
Yeah.
tooth. Your tooth. Yeah, exactly. Uh, so yeah, it's hard to say. We'll have to kind of find out. The interesting thing as well, right, is like if that is the power, how is that gonna? I don't even know. Like, what's gonna happen to everything as a result? I couldn't even tell you. Are these people gonna have to move? Would King Batt end up fighting the
Yeah.
dragon? I
Well,
don't know.
yeah. I would. I could imagine the next chapter would like we'll see like the teeth kind of restored, right? Like kind of like to its like glory, so to speak. So they're gonna have to like I guess renovate it within the tooth or something like that because it looks like it's built around the castle, right, or something like that. Or
Yeah,
well, not
or it's
really.
built
No,
into the teeth
I don't want to say
itself. If you
around the
think.
castle, but he's restoring it, so he's putting it back to its original form.
So he's restored. So instead, this is a cavity almost, and the cavity is being restored. They're
Yeah,
getting a fill in. Okay, there we go.
yeah, yeah. He's
Dentist
basically
analogy.
he's basically doing a dentist's job. So that's pretty funny when you really think about it,
Put it
right?
that way, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm gonna beat this plaque right out of here.
yeah.
Sorry.
But
What was that?
I'm also curious for the next chapter because there hasn't been a like what's the word? Not antagonist, but like a obstacle for them aside from them figuring it out. But you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, there's not really. I know what you mean. There's not really a challenge of some sort, or
yeah,
like an actual. There's no. You're right. There's no opposition. There's nothing to like
yeah,
stop them from doing this other than themselves.
yeah,
But
exactly. Or like the mystery of the upside down castle itself. Other than that, like if is him doing this gonna like release the dragon? I mean, I doubt it because I don't know why wasn't it awake before, or I think it's dead for millions of years or however long. Um, like is I know there's no one like against it, so it's kind of like what could the next chapter
what
be?
happens
Like,
next? Yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, like does he wake something inside the tooth? It could be that. You know what I mean? Like a
Oh, maybe he wakes up something living on the dragon.
yeah, I can imagine that. God, dragon's pretty massive. I wouldn't be surprised if humans could live on it. Why can't a monster does, right? And monsters do live
And
in this world. So I do want to see like there has to be repercussions to this. You can't just have like, okay, we did it. All right, now let's
later. Yeah, I feel you. We're
yeah,
gonna go to the
renovate.
next arc.
Yeah, so
Yeah, well, we'll definitely have to see. I mean, I'd argue it's almost difficult to set up an antagonist for this particular kind of plot thread that they're going with because
yeah,
realistically, he's just trying to build a house to even be able to take the exam, right?
yeah.
So, I mean,
And
I
even
think,
that, yeah, go ahead.
well, I just think even then, that's when you would see like the true kind of opposition, if you will, or the beginning of it.
That's what I'm saying. So like, I think we'll probably the most out I could definitely see is probably like a monster. So that comes out. You know what I mean? So
For sure. I think that's kind of it on my end. I can't think of anything specific. I mean, we already talked a bit about Cork's backstory. Oh, I guess the only other thing is like we saw a very brief shovel flashback, right? They had like a
yeah,
quote from him, but other than that,
yeah, it wasn't really much to say.
no. I guess the idea is just to show how much of an impact he's had on them, right? And they're actually using training to like solve the problems that
Yeah.
they're kind of meaning. I guess it speaks more to anything that Shovel was a beast. He probably would have figured that out like just walking to the castle, right? So,
Mm. And
all
like
right.
and I don't mind those like flashbacks because we know Shovel's taught them a lot of things. So it will probably down the line when they take the exam or this and that, learn new things. Shovel probably told them about it. So
Yeah, and I think that just be good storytelling, bringing us back to him as well because not knowing any information about like the father figure character, if you will, kind of tends to stink. It's not as interesting usually, right? So
yeah,
I hope we get some more of that for sure.
most definitely.
Okay, dude. So let's end it there and go to the next one.